Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's CC-Webinar.live keynote and panel discussion session. Thank you for joining. We would also like to thank Docomo for sponsoring today's session. And now I would like to introduce his ambassador, Eric van Stockholm, who will introduce keynote speaker and later on moderate the panel. For audience, if you have any questions for our keynote speaker or our panelists, please do use the chat box throughout the session. And now, Eric, over to you.
Thank you very much, Laura, and give my regards to the whole team for, again, organizing a very nice CC webinar live. So hi, guys, all of you out there at Zoom, on Facebook. I'm really happy to see you all. Today we have Tuesday, 27th of October, 2020. Time goes fast, and our business is running even faster. So we really need to listen in, look at it, and listen sharply. Ask your questions because you're entitled to. So the today topic is unlocking the carrier digital service opportunity, and I'm very happy, very honored to have Louisa here with me as well, and for you as well. So it's this CC Webinar Live is sponsored by Docomo Digital. So we're going to talk about how operators can maximize value from digital services business with their service delivery platforms. The power of linking with merchants and digital goods with simple APIs to gain a better, share of wallet of consumers while driving engagement and retention. So how are we doing in the COVID world, pre, post, and or post? Actually, we're in the middle of it. And important for carriers to go beyond the App Store carrier billing integrations to bring in individual merchants via DCB, direct carrier billing, to unlock more value with new customer segments. Well, a mouthful. I cannot do it by myself, and I don't want to, because we have lined up a senior, very senior specialist actually on this topic. So I'll give them a quick moment to introduce themselves, and then I'll take it over again, and we'll move on. So Louisa, please.
Thank you, Eric, for the introduction.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being at this webinar. In fact, it's a good opportunity to explore together the opportunities that we could have, even especially after the pandemic. We saw many changes happening, so this is what I think it's going to be a healthy discussion between everyone. So I'm responsible for Latin American and Europe region at Docomo Digital, and currently I'm based in São Paulo. Thank you.
In the beautiful Sao Paulo. Thank you. I'm very honored having you, Louisa. Super. Well, let's move actually from Sao Paulo over the ocean. We go to España. We actually go to Madrid. Eduardo. We cannot hear you, Eduardo. I think you have to unmute.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. So, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning. I work in Telefónica and Global Partnerships based in Madrid. This is a very, very interesting discussion. We've been doing a lot of things in partnerships and also using carrier billing. It's very important, or a very big opportunity for us to use this type of business models. And well, hope during we can get a lot of new things during the discussion. Okay.
Thank you very much, Eduardo. I think we have a little bug, or you have a little bug on the line, as we used to call it 40 years ago in telecommunication. Yep. If you might keep your microphone close while talking, then I think that not only on the Zoom session but also on Facebook, where we're streaming live, as we know, everybody will hear you. Thank you so much. And okay, we stay in Europe and we go north to the I think windy and a bit of rain, or do you have sunshine in London, Dario?
Look at that. No sunshine, Eric. Hi, everybody. Hello. Unfortunately, I can't offer you sunshine, but the warmest welcome to everybody at the campus community. Hello, Eric. I'm the CEO of MEF, the Mobile Ecosystem Forum. You might have seen me around here. I do like whenever they invite me. I love to join your discussions. The Mobile Ecosystem Forum is a trade association, not-for-profit, for the mobile world. And do we care about direct care billing? A lot. So let me talk to you later, tell you more.
Okay, Dario, thank you very much. And Luiso, Eduardo, and Dario, thank you for joining. It's absolutely an honor for us for having you here at this absolutely senior lineup, actually, in this panel discussion. But guys out there, before we go into the panel discussion, we can, I mean, Luisa shares with us, let's say, any insight from her work, from her environment, and of course from Docomo Digital. Please do not forget to if you have any questions, come up with the questions. We'll put them in. We'll absolutely insert them, so feel free to come with your questions after the presentation, but also during and after the panel session. So just write something in the chat box, and myself, and all the panelists will see it. We will address it, and if we might forget it, there's always Laura back in the studio in Berlin, so she will always kick my ass, actually. So let's move ahead, guys. Again, welcome to the world. I'm happy to have you here. And Luisa, I think that you have to share with us something which is very interesting, how Docomo Digital is actually supporting, seeing the market, being at the front of the market, and helping their clients. So please, I think the floor is yours, so please take it away.
Thank you, Eric. Can you all see my screen? Okay, thank you. So before we start with all the panel discussions, I'm sure there are many interesting questions for us. I wanted to give a little bit of overview of our understanding, our latest experiences with career billing, especially after the pandemic. So as we see here, basically, the career billing already have a very good growth if we compare from the beginning of all the history about it. Of course, there are many challenges around the ecosystem. Everyone that works on the telecommunication world knows very well. But even though despite all the complexities, we could see so far healthy growth, and we foresee as well a good growth for the future. When we see the segments that are leading the growth are basically the app stores. So Google Play and Apple are leading. Huawei has started to be more in the scope of the career billing as well, especially in Europe and Asia. So the stores are leading all the growth. Then we have very good insights with the traditional and big OTTs, digital OTTs, and we have some telcos as well moving with some trials for the physical goods or for some other activities with as well online PC games and esports, as today is becoming extremely important. So this is when we see as well the growth for the next years. After that, I would like to give a good focus in Latin America, as when we look at Latin America, we still see a very small revenues coming from career billing if we compare to other regions like Europe or Asia. But still, we could see a healthy growth on the last 5 years from now. There are a lot of rooms to improve. The career billing started here as with the premium SMS, and then it grew with the premium OTTs, and now the marketplaces are becoming more relevant for the career billing. So we have a very interesting region because, as we know, around 70% of the population is still doesn't have any bank account or any bank interaction with in the region. Although we have a very good smartphone penetration and internet access, and it gives us the potential to have those unbanked population joining the career billing. This is why so many OTTs are really using Latin America as the preferred market to launch new services, new payment methods. If we get just a comparison of what happens in Brazil, for example, we have around 250 billion US dollars being transacted outside the bank system. It means more or less the GDP of Portugal. So the opportunity that has in the region is huge. But although there are a couple of challenges that will contribute for the growth, but on a lower pace than, of course, any traditional payment method. Then, at the same time that we see the growth, the natural growth that we saw the projections shared by Ovum during their annual reports, we also saw very good results during the pandemic. Of course, the pandemic, it's something that nobody was predicting. A lot of people had to change the way they were interacting with the world, the way they would spending their free time together. And this is when we saw the direct impact on every region. This is exactly how we see on the first months of the pandemic. This is when the 100% of the regions, they were applying the hard lockdown, let's say. And then we saw a huge increase on the users' interaction, new users interacting to digital OTTs for carrier billing. And we saw, although at the same time that we saw a very big increase during the pandemic, a couple of regions could decrease as well. But as an overall, we can see this is a very good opportunity in the future, in the near future, I mean, with all the telcos, because if the users are aware of how to acquire, use carrier billing, especially now that everyone has to become digital, that's something that we can change the behavior forever. It's the right moment to apply any innovation. So this is extremely welcome. So looking at all those aspects, so that's what we as Docomo Digital, we are focused. We are already partnering with most of the telcos. We have different payment methods as well, and this is our intention to bring the digital services and also physical services, any kind of services, to carrier billing and open the payment method for more to a wider audience, as we already have the connection. So basically, this is the main message that I would like to share. Finalizing with, as I said, a couple of the merchants, the connections, and the alternative payment methods that we already work. So this is our focus today, becoming open to connect merchants, stores with telcos and alternative payment methods, not only the traditional ones, but e-wallets, for example, and any other payment method that becomes important during and after the pandemic. Eric, I think I could give a little bit of overview of our introduction. Now it's up to you for the next sessions. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here.
Thank you so much, Luisa. Thank you so much for giving us and the audience, of course, a super insight on DCB and actually what Docomo Digital actually stands for and what you can provide. So absolutely super. Thank you. I'm just quickly looking if I see some questions coming in from the audience with regards to your presentation. I don't see them. I think it's completely clear. So well done, good job. But I have one, because you mentioned that COVID had an impact in the different regions. I think it was your fourth or your fifth slide, and you reported a couple. In every region actually a plus. But we also saw, as from July, that it's actually really going down, or it went down actually. Especially in Europe, it went actually completely almost to
yeah, coming back
I wouldn't
to the
say to zero.
normal level.
So can you tell us, so my question is, what is the reason for that you saw the decline? And in the current situation, because we're talking now 27th of October, I think we are in let's say, a new or renewed situation, maybe as before. I leave that more to the politicians than to myself. But can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure, yeah. In fact, the first 3 months of the pandemic, all the regions, they were in the same pace. Everyone was applying the lockdown. It was a hard lockdown, especially in Europe. And but then by the end of July, August, things started to get easy. Not a full lockdown, so people came back to work, came back to normal life. A couple of countries, we saw that. And that's why the trend came back to like almost normal before the pandemic. What we saw as now in the last 2 weeks, we saw the numbers increasing a lot on the new COVID cases. We also saw that the digital services came back with the previous trend of the beginning of the lockdown. So it's something that will go really in the same direction when the lockdown happens or not. If we see what happening in Latin America, the growth started in April, and although it decreased a little bit after August, we are still in the same trend, in a very good trend if we compare the previous weeks and months before the pandemic. Because here, in fact, in Latin America, not all the countries came back to normal life. Like in Brazil, we are not in a hard lockdown, but everyone is working at home and spending more time at home. So that's why the trend is different from the rest of the world.
Okay. No, thank you very much. Because I was looking at it, and especially the data was until July, August, if I can recall correctly. So you know, and even now with the partial lockdowns again in Europe, and you know, it changes all the time. Although I do hope that it will go up anyway, and but the lockdowns will be completely, because guys, to be honest with you, I miss you all. I miss the congresses. I miss you all, seeing you and having a cup of tea, cup of coffee, glass of water, preferably beer with you guys.
Much better.
So to me, that's much better. But we'll get there. Next year will be a different year, and we'll find because reasons enough to meet up live with each other again. So Luisa, thank you very much. Thank you so much for sharing the information and tipping, let's say, a little bit of the services of Docomo Digital. So absolutely fabulous, and thank you. Congrats with that. So guys, for everybody out there, we're gonna move now to the panel discussion. And as you can see and hear, we have Eduardo from Telefonica live from Madrid with us, and of course we have the MEF, Mr. MEF. That is Dario Betti, the CEO. We have him with us. So Dario, let me, because you know you're a non-profit organization, you do everything and people can read all your articles. You do a lot of webinars, and you're always out there. Have been out there all the time, and they can always drop you a call and get the information. But digitalization and the new digital services are the key words, and transformation and whatever we call it. And I talk about it as well a lot. But how do you think, from your perspective, how can operators maximize, let's say, the value from digital services with service delivery platforms?
Well, first we started talking before of COVID and all the bad things that COVID are. Some people try to look at the positive in everything, and they turned out and say, well, COVID has been your digital chief. It has been so true, because it's been one of the main reasons why so many of the SMEs out there and so many of the large companies had to realize what an important challenge this was. So if you're a mobile operator, actually, that's not a bad time to be and to reconsider something, because I like Luisa was sharing fantastic numbers and the very good side of direct carrier billing, and I believe she's perfectly right to do that. But direct carrier billing is not always loved and liked everywhere, and it's a big surprise. Because really, I mean, I know some of you here, maybe we'll ask Eduardo, etc., but might be saying, why it shouldn't be? This is a simple fintech technology. It's in the palm of your hand. You press a button, possibly 2 or 3. Just we like to make sure that there is a consent all the time, and we say that in math. But that is what people want, and right now it makes a lot of sense. If you're trying to consume content, if you're trying, we've seen it, to have insurance, to buy even physical services, it's a real tool for you to use today. So mobile operators have been, some of them at least, have been sidelining these issues because there have been sometimes problems with direct color billing, but because it was done badly or by people not understanding how to do it exactly or well. So I think professionalism in digitalization is very important. Do jump on the bandwagon because it is the right time to do so. Do think of direct carrier billing, but think of doing it rightly. And then there are a couple of things we need to include with that. So absolutely, I love the message from Luisa. I like the message you seem to be saying as well, which is time to rediscover your service delivery platform. Why don't you do something with it? Go there and dust it off. But it's also trying to look at what we can do as an industry, because there are a lot of things we have at our fingertips, but we're not really proud of using sometimes. And we should be. We should be proud of direct color billing, what it does in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Dario. So, Luisa.
Yeah, if I can add something, and that's something really important that you mentioned, because the carrier billing, it came from old services and bad behaviors from old providers in the past, and then this is when it becomes hard to accept that carrier billing can be different for the end users if you teach them how to use, if you have the security on your side, if you choose the right OTT partner, if you connect correctly. On top of that, if you compare each region and each regulation, it's different. So if, like, while in Latin America it's regulated by local telecommunication regulatory companies. In Europe, sometimes it's regulated by the financial market as well. So you need to have a license to operate carrier billing in some countries. And on top of everything, there are the taxation issues that prevent as well to increase and get a larger audience and larger merchants for that. It's still on the beginning, and I feel there are a lot of things to work and improve on this sense, because as Dario said, the user experience and how easy it should be to use any of the services, it's a reality. It is easy. It is something that everyone can understand. And this is something that, for example, it is happening very well in a couple of countries, like in Japan, because they really teach the users of how to use carrier billing or the wallet system or it's so. But it needs to come as well from the telco culture to make it happen. I'm pretty sure that Eduardo has a very good view about the evolution about it.
Not only the telco, but the customers of the telco. Maybe, well, we operate in two different continents, and we can see big difference in the customers in one continent and in the other. Maybe in Latin America are mostly prepaid. The customers need to learn how to pay with card billing. In Europe, people already know how to do it. Mostly, for example, in Germany and UK, people use a lot of card billing. It's the preferred payment method. Spain, we are just a little bit behind, but we need to teach the customers how to use, and also people from the operators need to trust in card billing. And also, this is
Exactly.
from the economics. Sometimes we as operators want to take a bigger bite in some services, and we need to understand that this is not our business, and we need to take the exact amount of revenue that we deserve for this. Maybe Latin America we want more, Europe are already used to it, and always we have this type of problems to convince our people to use car billing.
Exactly.
Okay, so thank you, Eduardo, and sorry for the people out there. The sound is not really fantastic, so apologies for that, guys. But what we're actually saying is, and Dario, and you started with this, and then Luis and Eduardo, you acknowledge it. We should actually embrace it. I mean, our consumers should our customers should embrace it. We should embrace it. Let's say as operators, or the operators should actually embrace it. It's themselves as well. And education is as well. Let's say should be out there, so that the end users see how, let's say, friendly it actually is to work with. Now, the power of linking, with merchants and digital goods with simple APIs to gain a better, let's say, share of a wallet of consumers, and of course while driving the engagement and retention. I mentioned this in my opening lines. Luisa, do you think that are APIs actually the answer to drive engagement and retentions? But what do you see?
Yes, in fact,
clear yes, just a clear yes.
It is because in the end, we can only scale carrier billing if the systems are all prepared for that. So one, the telco has to have their basic APIs for charging, for refund, for dynamic billing. So this is what will allow the service provider, so the layer, to really onboard fast any of the merchants. Second, as well, is exactly that. Usually the telcos, they have the core business, as everyone knows, but then for the value-added services, and this is when carrier billing is seated, they don't have the full capability for that. So this is when some layer or some middleware is needed to really onboard the complexity around the merchants, and as well to have a very focused analysis on the behavior and the metrics around the merchants whenever they are launched. So it all can happen only when the telcos has the right APIs and the partner has the right APIs to connect with third merchants and things like that. So this is when the scale happens as well. So in fact, the technology behind that has to be something to cover different type of merchants, different tiers, and come up with a good solution for the telcos for them. So then it would be able to cover the frauds, the bad habits, and the solutions for prepaid and postpaid, mitigating that. So in some markets where the prepaid is still the big portion, you should have a solution for that. And then also for the merchants that telco maybe is not that comfortable on giving the flow and trusting the flow. So this platform should be there to control and make sure there is no fraud happenings at all. So yeah, in my view, this is when the scalability could happen on the carrier billing.
Okay,
No,
Dario?
Sorry.
Or Eduardo, scusa, Eduardo.
Yeah, sorry, no, and also a thing related to time to market, because if you have the right APIs and just it's a plug and play, okay? So we usually have problems that we need to maybe launch a service, and we need to obviously we want to launch it right now, and if the connections are not the right ones, we will lose time and money, okay? Just to add
Okay,
what Elisa was saying.
thank you, Eduardo. But you know what? In a lot of sessions and in a lot of, let's say, webinars, on different topics. What I and I used to work for a very large operator for a very long time, heading the European squad. What is then actually, and maybe Dario, you can elaborate on this one. Because everything is there. we have this, we have the product, we have the services, we have the APIs, we have everything. But what do you see from a helicopter point of view, especially on let's say toward the mobiles, because mainly our, let's say, operators, they all have a mobile branch, or actually they are pushed by the mobile branch, as we used to say, and which is still valid. So from your point of view, what are the operators lacking then? What are they missing?
Well, some of them, I don't think they're lucky necessarily. Some of them have got burned in the history, and I had my history just like you did on the mobile operator. I was a receiving hand of CEOs and CFOs who were not particularly happy of the titles they could see on the newspapers, and sometimes nothing to do with mobile operators, and nothing to do specifically with even customers of a mobile operator. But fraud has been very bad. I'll do a little sponsor activity here.
Still is.
I don't want to talk about the bad things, as I think there's so much positive out there. But let's face it, that some people have done bad things with. I've just destroyed my remote control. But with direct carrier billing in general. We are publishing a summary of the good things that are happening within fraud, because we are seeing some of the operators, and we know some markets, is Australia, some of the Nordics, which are simply saying goodbye to direct carrier billing. We don't want to touch it. We make money, but you know what, we'll do other things. That's a great missed opportunity for the carriers, but for the consumers out there. Luisa, Eduardo were still mentioning it's real. You can use it. And we have been, as MEF, talking to some of the operators one-to-ones, even to give the message, which is don't give up. Actually, there's a lot of ways of managing fraud and push it out of the system. So that's very important for me. But I do understand, as I was on the receiving end, a lot of the operators have suffered from these, which is, malware, many other things that are happening in the industry. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. And what we are trying to do is to share some of the good experiences out there. So give us another couple of weeks on our website. You'll be able to share some of the operators' own accounts of that, our view of what should be seen as fraud and how you can control it. So I started with the bad, answering with the bad part, which is sometimes
you always do this.
I mean, you're right. Complain, Eric. I shouldn't be here telling you all the bad stuff. Instead, let's focus on the good ones, and the good ones on the bad is, yes, fraud has been bad, but there are ways to really control it. You never win with fraud. Eric, you know that. Luisa, but you can fight it so much better now, which is the big news. So you don't have to suffer from fraud. But let's all, as operators, share the good news with them, let them know that it can happen, and then we'll start using the service much more. And then Luisa is right as well, taxes, taxation, complications, there are lots of other things, Eduardo, the APIs, which is there, but there is a few things that could be part of the solution as well. But that was my little summary, if you want. It's got a bad name, is not true anymore.
I'm so happy to have you, because you always bring the good news on the last part. So thank you. Luisa, please.
Yeah, if I can compliment, I see it's a moment of transformation. We saw in the last years, as Dario said, many telcos already blocking or removing whatever they feel that is extremely risky for them. But as long as the right actions are put in place, we talk to the telcos all the time, and we see there is an important moment when they see the real need of investing the partnership with important OTTs, global OTTs, or even OTTs that are relevant for that country or that region. And those partnerships will unlock to bring the audience for the telco as well, because if the big OTTs, which they already have their own audiences, like let's say, whenever they have the audiences and bringing that to the telcos, it is like it brings the value for both on both sides, and the telco doesn't need to keep investing only on their side by, okay, let's show what we are doing, let's invest on marketing, let's invest on this, on that. It is a jointly effort on both sides, and it's natural. So whenever it becomes natural, whenever you bring a big OTT that will make their users aware of the payment, a new payment method, that's something that can become more valuable for the telcos. As Eduardo said, the carrier billing has to be respected even inside the telecommunication environment, because sometimes it's seen as a bad behavior, a bad solution, and not a standard and
A
good
scary thing.
part of the core. Exactly. Yeah.
But Eduardo, so for you, what do you think? Is this from an operator point of view, is the glass half full or half empty? Sorry for the
no,
tricky question.
yeah, don't worry. I will answer it. Let's see the European point of view, that is more like the advanced. So here we use a lot of car billing in Europe, and in this part, there's a part that is very good, that customers and operators know about the service. Also, sometimes we want to, for example, have a deal with some OTT, and you have exclusivities already, because we want to go with launch, I don't know, Netflix, Spotify, whatever the names, and they have already made deals with other operators or deal with another things. So direct carrier billing is always there. There's no exclusivity, and we try to bring those big partners to the operators, and also not only making the payment, because okay, it's money, okay, it's important, but also the things that we can do together as a partner. So we try, when we close deals, we say, okay, it's a billing partnership, but no, we try to go further and do other things regarding these partnerships. More to be more involved. So you have the billing partnerships. We have else things that we can do, and a lot of things we are doing specifically in this kind of thing. And maybe in Latin America they will become, in a certain amount of time we will be there. But here, let's say in Europe, is the glass is full. In Latam, is going to be full in a couple of years.
Yep.
Well, good to hear that. So Luisa, you can you can accord that in Latam it's almost more than half,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, it's we had a good evolution from the last 2 years,
Sure.
especially from now. We could evolve on not only on the models, but as well recognizing and defining the key partners to onboard, and having a very careful picture to start on Latin America, because as Latin America is always like 5 years behind Europe. It's always like that. So we are in a moment of
Only 3.
But it's not bad, because you can see the future. You're in Latin,
Exactly.
you see the future. You can see in right now you see the future.
Exactly.
Eduardo was right. He's right, because you can benefit from it and you can catch up so much faster. So
It is.
And maybe you avoid mistakes, no?
Yeah, and in fact, we had good examples to take from Europe to Latin America that could benefit us, and not even on OTTs, but which kind of the solutions were right to implement in the region, and it's a step by step, but we are getting there. We could unlock a lot of important issues that were preventing any of the launches to happen, and that's a matter of like delivering and really moving forward.
Okay, cool. So I'm just quickly looking at the chat box and I see questions coming in. So let me get this one. That's actually for you. So stay there, Luisa, because it's a question from Lorraine, and thank you for that, Lorraine. Thank you super for getting the question. So Luisa, what do you think that could be done to increase the penetration of DCP in LATAM? I think you mentioned already something, as we have it for Europe and Asia. And could the telcos actually help on it, do more? What do you see?
Yeah, in fact, telcos collaboration is the key part. Like it's when we talk about the carrier billing, the direct carrier billing penetration. Usually what drives the penetration are basically, as I was saying in my keynote presentation, is basically the app stores, so Google Play and Apple Store. This is when all starts, like it's when we get the on scale. A couple of telcos already launched here. Some other countries are still under negotiation. Some of them are ready to launch. It's just a matter of some small topics to solve. So this is, I think, something that was the real challenge in the last 3 years. 3 years from now, it was the challenge. That whenever those ones that are planned to be launched finally launches, it is when the penetration will increase a lot. On top of that, as well, of course, the standardization of the business models and how to deal with the OTTs. This is something that has to be always agreed with the telcos, and this is when I feel the collaboration on the telco side is more relevant for that. Defining one single model and how to bring them and accelerate the negotiations.
Okay, thank you, and I'm sure that answers the question from Lorraine. So Lorraine, thank you so much for your question. Really appreciate it. Let's dive a little bit into, let's say, the platform side of the business, and as you rightly said in your keynote presentation already. I mean, we live in a different world post-COVID, or actually in the middle of COVID. So Eduardo, question for you: how, for instance, can a managed service provider payment platform support and enhance actually the service portfolio of a bandwidth provider?
Okay, I was looking that question.
Actually, two questions. Okay.
Starting like with the first one. We need to trust a lot of the integrators as Docomo. They help us a lot to bring a lot of services to our customers. So maybe we cannot negotiate with all of them, but Docomo and other integrators can help us a lot with that to manage the portfolio. Okay, so we can negotiate as for example, working partnerships. We negotiate a lot of deals, but mostly are the ones that come through aggregators and integrators as Docomo. Okay. I don't know if that answers half of the question.
No, but that's good enough. Luisa, what's your view on it?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. I feel that it's a moment. Most of the telcos, they need like help on that part. So this is when the company is focused on bringing them plays an important role, and because they have the view not only for the telco but for the entire ecosystem, and this is when the suggestions for standardization, for improvements and innovation happens. And I think the collaboration that happens today has been the key for keeping the ecosystem as it is, and the projections, helping on the projections for the future.
Dario, thank you.
Eric,
Dario,
sorry, it's the one that everyone wins. So if a company like Docomo brings a partner, it's simpler for everyone. So it's quicker for the partner, it's quicker for Docomo, it's quicker for the operator. Just plug here and you have it already. And everyone wins in this kind of deals. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Dario, do you see this? Let's say that was on the second part. Do you see actually these partnerships models popping up? That the managed service platform payment providers, they support more, let's say, the bandwidth provider. Do you see it?
I would say that the ecosystem, or a mobile ecosystem, for we talk about ecosystems, there are multiple of them, are liquid. it's very difficult nowadays to cut a role. I mean, we have Docomo, which is a type of great examples. In Japan, they actually sell their own insurance. They have their own managed payment services, effectively fully integrated. Large country, great operators. Well, you're not the same operator if you're in a smaller country or if you have made some other decisions. I mean, Telefonica.
That's clear. That's fully clear.
And then, even that same operator might country-wise decide to do things differently, because what is very important, not just for operators nowadays, is bottom line, margins, and efficiencies. If you cannot be efficient, you have some great solutions out there. And let somebody that is a specialist drive you and tell you what to do. And similarly, these vertical and horizontal, this diagram we used to take, vertical integration, horizontal, actually it's not happening anymore. Things is almost diagonal. Partnerships is a much more complicated but fantastically rewarding opportunity, and the managed service is one of those. So I would say for some of our members, it's fantastic as a solution. Some others are not. They are asking for solutions. They see themselves as a provider worldwide of services. So go out and make your own out of the ecosystem. That's a reality. But as a managed service provision, great opportunity for some, and possibly a good opportunity for some to sell it.
Okay, Dario, let me stay with you because we are actually a quite interesting question from Fabio coming in, and thank you, Fabio. On the fee side, because it's not for nothing. It's nothing is cheap, and you have to pay for everything. Nothing is for free. So, Dario, why do you think that the mobile operators have high fees on DCB? And if so, is it something that can be improved or would help actually the business case?
Oh, well, okay, that's a very long story, and actually one that is changing and nowadays as the roles of some of the aggregators by now, because some of the fees, if you go back to the OS questions, Louisa was pointing out as well, is actually driven by an ecosystem, which is not the operator themselves anymore. And these ecosystems might have lowered the direct carrier billing rate from what it used to be to something which is probably
true.
And some others are still out there and say it could be cheaper. Now, and I think Fabio is right. Operators have adjusted and have seen. Some of the operators are even go for very different business models. Again, taxations and other things should be taken in consideration, because sometimes then it is not treated in the same equivalence of a payment mechanism. So I think there are something is to do with regulation, something is to do with competitions, but there's nothing better than competition in the world to set up these questions. And guess what? Well, there are lots of wallet services available from operators themselves, which much lower solutions. So you can find your own solutions in there. But back to a point that Eduardo was making, which is very good, and one that the operators really need to do more homework on, is but direct carrier billing is only the payment part. Once we have all of this great connection, the level of services, the level of value you can extract it. There are some examples, fantastic examples. I don't think we have enough time to, but some of the OTTs out there, I'm using direct carrier billing and the data from direct carrier billing as a way to manage what is effectively the white fraud of people trying to get free passes on a continuous basis. And that's millions and tens of millions of dollars available for them on something that they can only do with these specific ones. So great work done, and some more of these examples are available everywhere. So there is a lot more value that can be extracted. Fabio is right. The adjustments of fees is happening, but also the values of direct carrier billing is something that people are discovering. There is more value with it. There is not more ROI, etc. So it's out there. I think the good news is competition will decide. There is opportunities outside.
We saw that before in many other, let's say, submatter industries of our business. Okay, guys, I'm looking a little bit at the time. I quickly want to move on. Eduardo, important for carriers to go beyond actually the App Store, carrier billing integrations, to bring in individual merchants via DCB to unlock actually more value with new customer segments. Can you share your views on that with us?
Yeah, right, what I was mentioning before. So going outside the stores is where particularly I like more doing business. Go directly with the partners, and so in order to extract more value jointly. So we like to do partnerships with OTTs, and also what else can we do together? So payment is very important. Yes, people do not like to put credit cards in the services. They don't have credit cards. We know that. But then what we like to do is to do what else we do together, and that is the really, I believe. I know there are more financial guys that they say the money is more important, but what I like more is what things can we do together that give the customer more benefits, and also the positioning of the operator with some and the leverage that operators can get with positioning with some OTTs. Okay, so it's what else can you do together? That's probably the most important thing that we are searching in these kind of things.
No, and the thing you touched actually a point. What else can we do? Because next to, let's say, the responsibility you have to your shareholders, so let's say the financial responsibility, because we will always want to see the money. I think operators do also have a social responsibility. So
Yeah.
we can do so much more, and also for the good, which not always brings the money, but brings a huge amount of exposure, which then can be okay. Everybody learned it out of the books. So, Luisa, what's your view on that? What do you think we can do more? What's out
Yeah, I see that now. On the last years, we saw the telco, they were ensuring to keep their customers with them because they were offering a cheaper service, or they were offering a better broadband, things like that. Then things changed. All the telcos, they already have 4G, 5G somewhere. They already have free messaging. They already have free data if you use WhatsApp, if you use Netflix, Waze, things like that, Uber. So what else? What else? The users, they started to see that the basic services they can have everywhere. It doesn't matter anymore. So it's part of the telco's strategy now to onboard other merchants and do bundling, extra actions with promotion actions with other OTTs to lock those users for them, because they can. That's a reality now. They can lose the customer if they do not offer the right services to the right client. What we used to know as a very value-added services that was really incremental and not part of the strategy, it becomes to change. So if you see, there is a very good example with Vivo Brazil. If you see the quarter review they share with the investors relationship, they explicitly say that they are a content company because they are really unlocking other services to the end user. So they partner with Netflix, they partner with NBA and with big names to promote the services and become still the first telco in Brazil. So it's something extremely important. So the partnership with big OTTs outside the telcos, not only carrier bidding, but bundling or other offers, are the key to keep your market share.
Okay. Dario, what's more out there?
Well, I don't know. I think that's what we need, really intelligent people to speak like Luisa and Eduardo. Don't ask me this question, Eric. I go back to the fluid component. There is a lot of opportunity. There is a lot of resettling the cards, the rules, the games. Telecom, probably it's an old-fashioned name that we used in the previous century, and then maybe who knows what they're going to be next. But there is still a fantastic role for the bandwidth provider, which doesn't go away. It's a great job, but that doesn't mean that all telecoms are acting or doing the same way. So direct care billing is one of those great examples of which has changed. It's 20 years when we started talking about direct care billing. There itself, the rules, the models, what you can do with it, we need to refresh our eyes a bit and be a bit more open-minded of what you can do with it. So there's a lot out there. Don't ask me what, but I will be here to tell you all about it once I hear from somebody intelligent.
Fantastic. So, Eduardo, I think we're running in, let's say, to the end of this session, and I'm sure we could talk even even longer. But Eduardo, what do you think? What's next to be seen? What will the future bring? What do you see?
Well, we were talking before that if you are in America, the future is Europe. Here in Europe, the future you can see it in Japan. So it's like you can see the future in every continent. So I believe that the things that we are going to be working in the future would be physical goods. I believe that would be the next big wave that we
Next step.
Yeah.
Okay, Luisa.
Yeah, I would say the same. Despite the physical goods as well, we see the IoT, which is something that everyone talks about. So with 5G, IoT is it's like whatever. It's exactly what comes with 5G, and this is with IoT, and this is what we can work together as well. And not only that, but also bringing together, becoming not only connecting partners, but finding other solutions to improve postpaid or prepaid user experience. That's something that still, it's we are talking about a long time already. Okay, frauds, etc. But if we don't solve that, in the end, anything that comes after that will have the same problem. So
sure,
even prepaid user experience, how to lend a better user experience, lend money to with a good user experience to this user while he's trying to buy a content, while he's trying to buy a physical good. So there are a lot of initiatives, and but the physical good, that's something extremely important that we see already. In fact, many telcos working on some initiatives that we can see something happening in the next few years.
Okay, cool. Dario, some famous last words for this session. What will the future bring? If I cannot ask you what is more to coming out there for my previous question, I still come back to you. What do you think the future will bring to us?
Well, on direct care billing, I think it'll bring a new season. And it goes back, and it's really looking with fresh eyes, maybe reevaluate this channel a bit more, and seeing the great things it can bring towards, and again, the great value added things it does. It's not just payment, it's more than payment. It's a great API that opens up to a lot of things, and it's not just paying for one content. It's your OTT, as we mentioned. It's your bundling strategy that comes together with it. It's effectively another part of your payment plan, seriously, and wallet strategy. So there's so much out there, and the question is, where do you start? And I think we're going to have a lot more people reconsidering that maybe they have looked down at their Caribbean recent. That's what I think is going to be coming next to us.
Okay. Thank you for those words. And with those thanks, I would like to thank actually Luisa. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing with us the Docomo Digital presentation with us and sharing your insights. Eduardo from Madrid, thank you so much. Honor having you as well. And Dario, as always, being fantastic, having the helicopter view from everybody for everybody. And thank you so much. And I want to thank the people out there on Facebook and on this streaming as well via Zoom. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for being interactive with us. And I would like to thank the Care Community team for having today's session with the CC-Webinar.live. So big thanks to everybody. Luis, thank you. Big greetings to Sao Paulo. I miss it over there. Madrid, Eduardo, and London. Come on, get some sunshine over there. But I miss you too. So everybody out there, thank you so much for listening to us, watching us, giving us the questions, and And for now, I would say ciao and back to Laura to the studio in Berlin. Thank you, guys. Love you.
Thank you, Eric. Dear all, we are at the end of this CC Webinar Live session today. And first of all, I would love to thank Luisa for her wonderful presentation, Eric for moderating, our panelists for sharing the valuable knowledge, and our participants, our audience for joining and listening. We are looking forward to welcoming you in our next webinar session planned for tomorrow at 3 p.m. CET time. This panel session will be soon available on our media portal for you to watch it. Also, if you're interested in supporting and sponsoring one of our future branded webinars, please contact CC team. And for now, thank you very much, stay healthy, and goodbye.